Hi, it's me again. I'll be reading some more from this book. We are up to Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. LaForge felt weird sitting at the ops console watching the Challenger's main viewer when he had first joined the crew of the Enterprise. He had been the con officer, despite his already established proficiency in starship engineering, because that was the only slot available for him at the time, and because of his fervent desire to serve on the Enterprise. Well, it's really coming down on the Enterprise. Now here he was back on a Galaxy-class ship, and almost, but not quite back in the past. The only difference was that he was in the left-hand seat instead of the right-hand one. Maybe looking into the past was just like looking into a mirror. A note came up on his console, and he turned to face the center seat. Scotty was in the captain's chair with Hunt and Dr. HMS on either side. The AGAMEMNON is moving into formation with us. Scotty perked up. A bell bloody time two. KAT. Drop us out of warp. Transporter room. Are you ready to bring aboard our final team member? Ready, a woman's voice replied. GEORDI. Leah, would you like to accompany me down to Transporter Room 1 and greet our latest guest? Mr. Hunt, you have the bridge. LaForge and BRHM immediately rose and made for the turbo lift with Scotty. GEORDI couldn't help but wonder who the EMNON had brought, and what specialty he or she would bring with him. He found himself hoping it might be Miles O'Brien, who was the best practical engineer he could think of other than Scotty himself. In the turbo lift, Scotty glanced at them both. I hear from GUINAN that that you two were catching up in Nielsen's. I have found a few familiar faces aboard. Lee Ford said it's nice to catch up with friends I haven't seen for a while. Scotty nodded and Mark thought, I am glad to hear it. A crew needs to be a family if you know what I mean. The best starship crews always are. The turbo lift doors open just short of the transporter room door. A female chief of a medium height with graying hair was waiting at the console. Have EMNON signaled the readiness to transport. CAROLAN Scotty asked. Just a second ago, right. You all then go ahead and energize. CAROLAN definitely pressed the controllers and the figure submerged into being on the shining transporter pad. The new arrival was tall and lanky with a wide angular face and spiky gray hair that was cropped short. He wore loose clothing and a rather irritating smug expression. LaForge was horrified. RASMUSSEN BERLINGHOFF RASMUSSEN is on this team. BRAH. MS nodded, looking surprised at his reaction. Yes, do you know? Oh, of course you do. He was a pretty handed by the Enterprise, wasn't he? Apprehended isn't quite the word I'd use. Caught red-handed is more like it. RASMUSSEN stepped down from the platform, shaking hands with Scotty. Then caught sight of GEOORDI. Wait. I remember you, Lieutenant LaForge. It's Commander LaForge now. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to keep you below decks, so to speak. LaForge tapped the pips on his collar. These pips, RASMUSSEN. I don't know what a commander's insignia was in your time, but same actually, but they were more sort of. He patted the right side of his chest, just below the collarbone. Here, I must apologize for the welcome, Leah interrupted. Commander Lee Forge is. Oh, think nothing of it. Oh, think nothing of it. Doctor, BRAHMMS, RASMUS, RASMUSSEN said with a BEATIFIC and slightly contrite smile. The commander's reaction is perfectly understandable under the circumstances. I doubt any of his shipmates from the Enterprise would have really been happy to see me again. Quite the opposite, in fact. You made quite an impression, Lee Ford said pointedly. An unfortunate and an unpleasant one, I know, and I regret it, and offer my unreserved apologies. I know that any of you from whom I tried to steal would be unhappy to see me again. Well, apart from Mr. Data, of course, who isn't really capable of unhappiness. He might understand, actually. I doubt it, really. He seemed quite. Data's dead. GEORD. Didn't even realize until the words had escaped his lips that he wasn't hesitating over whether to say dead or deactivated. Dead. RASMUSSEN looked genially surprised. More incredibly, he looked genially dismayed as well. The smile faded from his face. I'm sorry to hear that. He was quite an incredible piece of merchandise creation. RASMUSSEN looked lost for a moment. He was an incredible creation. That was an opinion with which GEORDI couldn't disagree. RASMUSSEN couldn't blame GEORDI LaForge for being unsociable. His reaction to the offer of a drink in the ship's lounge was a bit more than unsociable. But RASMUSSEN couldn't really blame him for that either. After all, he had tried to steal his stuff, his shipmate's stuff, and kidnap his friend. Frankly, RASMUSSEN thought if I was one of the other Enterprise crew, I'd have slugged me on the spot. He hoped that thought didn't belatedly occur to LaForge or anyone else now on this ship who had been on the Enterprise back then. Back then, the phrase was a sick joke. Even back then, was 200 years in his own future. He looked around the cabin they had given him, and was vaguely reminded of his trip to the Enterprise. Nearly 15 years ago. It probably wasn't exactly the same as the same as the accommodation there, even though this was the same class as ship, but he wasn't familiar enough with it to notice the differences. He did, however, notice the differences between it and in the penal colony in New Zealand. Actually, now that he came to think of it, the penal colony gave him a bigger room and an outdoors. He suspected, though, that the extra room was so that there would be space for the endless parade of historians and the like who had come to gawk at him like some kind of resurrected Neanderthal. Not that they had treated him badly, but he knew he was an attraction to them, like a zoo animal. That some of those historians had been rather pretty. MITGATAD. His captivity, though he couldn't fault the 24th century Polish woman. They were among the few things that didn't depress him these days. When he first came to the century, he thought it would be wondrous and magical. With advanced technology, he could take back, invent, and amaze people with. After so many years eating mostly replicated food, he found he wished he never heard of that particular device, and he was amazed that they still use transporters in spite of all the horrid stories that the free press had been disseminated back in the 2150s when they were invented. The novelty basically had worn off, but that wasn't the worst of it. The worst was that even though he was a scientist and an engineer of sorts, he didn't understand a word of the technical journals to which he had subscribed. When he met a few school children who knew more about warp theory than he did, he knew he didn't have what it took to get up to speed. Then came the offer of this trip, and he knew it was his calling, a ship from his own time, a ship and a technology he knew and could understand. How could he refuse the chance to be useful again? How could he refuse the chance to meet more lovely ladies of Starfleet? As Energy left the bridge at the end of his shift, Taylor Hunt ran to catch the same turbolift hold up Energy. Energy struck a leg between the doors to prevent them closing. It was his heavier leg, the BIOSYNTHETIC prosthetics that he had been stuck with since the Battle of AR-558 during the DOMINION War. What can I do for you, Commander? As the door snapped shut, Hunt called out, "Elevator halt." Then he turned to Energy. That RASMUSSEN bloke worship worries me. Me too. He reminds me of the kind of people my uncle always used to do business with. You know what I mean. He's not just a guy who made a mistake once and got himself in too deep. More like it's in his blood. You know. Energy knew exactly what he meant. I think so. I have known quite a few like that before I joined Starfleet. Hunt counted his head. If my formative years were filled with people like that, I think I'd have seen the service as the quiet life. You didn't join Starfleet for the quiet life then? Nah, joined up to see the galaxy really belonged to a family of sorts. What about your own family, Orphan? Oh, I am sorry to hear that. Family was everything as far as FERENGI were concerned. If you didn't have a family, how did you learn to navigate? How did you learn to navigate and do business? Exploration, after all, began at home. I wonder if the captain would let me put a guard on him. Somehow I doubt it. Innocent until proven guilty, and all that. Elevator resumed. Deck 10. Nielsen's. What else? Good thinking. Promotion material. Wish I wasn't still on duty. The turbolift deposited Energy a short distance from Nielsen's before taking Hunt back up to the bridge. Even though it was now packed, it was a long-held tradition that the senior staff would be afforded seats, and Energy quickly found his way to the table at one end of the windows when Commander Lee Forge was sitting with QATQA and BARCLAY. QATQA saw Energy and beckoned him over. Then turned to whisper something in the ear of the nearest seated junior officer. Said junior officer leapt to his feet and slid the chair across before disappearing into the standing throng. We saved a seat for you, QATQA said. Thanks. If you studied engineering, how did you come to be a security chief? QATQA asked. It was the position that was open. I've been a ground pounder in the DOM-ION war and chief engineer on Deep Space Nine. Now when the chief engineer slot opens up on Challenger, I will apply. LaForge understood. It happens that way on a lot of Starfleet ships, he said to QATQA. When I first joined the Enterprise, it was as flight controller, because that was the slot I was waited for. After a year, the chief engineer position became available. What made you want to become a Starfleet engineer? The Klingon asked. That's really two different questions, Energy said. It is. I wanted to join Starfleet because of the officers I got to know on DS9, mainly Chief O'Brien and Captain SISKO. When I saw the things they did and the way they worked together for a greater good, I wanted to do that too. It's a sort of a project that's inside and feels good. Engineering, I always had a talent for it, like my dad. Your father's an engineer? He was? Oh, he's not. No. I didn't mean that. He was an engineer on Deep Space Nine. Now he's. Energy looked a little embarrassed. Well, he changed job. He's not an engineer anymore. Oh, okay. It's a shame because he was really good at it. I mean, he never had any formal training. He just learned as he went along. But he had a natural talent and instinct. Innate talents are things to cherish. QATQA proclaimed. Absolutely. So why did he give it up? Circumstances changed. It's a long story. Okay, that's the end of chapter 5. Okay, bye for now.